Hi, Anka. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you? Lovely to see you
I'm
again this
good.
morning.
You too. I'm just trying to see why. Oh, there we go. Now we're nice and big. So, today we wanted to talk about this whole concept of self esteem, what it means. And Pia Melody says it so beautifully when she says that self esteem is neither more than or less than. I'm neither better than or less than the next person because it's not conditional. It's because we're here. I might be a better tennis player than you are. You might be a better
Probably
marketing
are.
you might be a better marketing person than I am, but it doesn't make you a better person. And when it comes to relationships, especially intimate relationships, we need to be at eye to eye to have intimacy, vulnerability, and to create the depth that we wish for. I just wanted to add one more thing that so often we're conditioned, not that self esteem comes from the inside out, because my self esteem is because I'm here, right? But rather it's performance based. You should see how many thousands of dollars I have in my account. My performance is my self esteem. Or I want you to think well of me, then I feel good about myself. Or it's about some of the things that I've got. Look, I've got this big home, I've got this big car, and that's where our self esteem is born, rather from the outside in, rather than from the inside out, just because we're here. What are your thoughts?
No, I love how you put this into like we're not more or less than this whole comparison thing because it comes up a lot, and I think it's also even when I look at it through the lens of building an online business, there's often that, oh, there's the guru, and the guru is more than, right? And then immediately you're small. And you, as a result of that, quite often will ignore what your common sense tells you and you won't trust it. So you will then do things that somebody else tells you, even if it kind of makes no sense to you, and it might not even be the best thing to do. And the other thing that popped to mind when you were talking about like where it's easy to be tempted to look for that self-esteem in things and something that I see a lot or where it comes like what it comes to a lot sorry I'm kind of like but anyway it's basically that trust that I can deal with what's coming my way. If I
Mm,
trust that I will be able to deal with what is being thrown at me, I'm good, right? It
right.
doesn't mean I can do it, but I trust that I can figure it out. And especially in the tech world, I see it all the time. The moment people get a glimpse of, oh, well, I don't know it now, but I have what it takes to figure it out, immediately it's that, like, okay, they stop looking at themselves as this inadequate or like, I'm just like not good at this. And so the way you feel about yourself and what it is you're capable of, I think that makes quite a big difference.
Right. I love a few things that you said that I'd like to tease out a little bit. You spoke about the guru,
Mm-hmm.
and I always tell my clients in the relationship work that I do, I am a fellow traveler.
Mm-hmm.
Relationships are minute to minute to minute. I'm also within relationships, and those are also my challenges to manage my self-esteem, my boundaries. A lot of their challenges I experience as well. The guru comes in, which I love. So I'm not an expert on relationships. I'm a fellow traveler. The guru comes in when I might turn to you, as you said, and say, how do I actually do this technically? So you might know better which buttons to press on the computer and how to access something. You might know that better than I do, but it doesn't make me a better person. And when working with people, it's so important to remind them of
Yes.
that we are not the experts on life, but we might have been given wisdoms or shared knowledge that we have. I can't tell you anything about coronavirus or the vaccine, but I do spend a lot of my time trying to understand relationships. So I can offer wisdoms and insights there. But remember that self-esteem is not because of my extra knowledge.
Yes, yes, I
I
love
like
that. And actually, the first time I really got to see that eye to eye, it was actually when I moved to Australia back in the 90s, coming from Germany, where like, especially sort of in a corporate environment, it was very hierarchical. It was very much like, I remember the moment I like, oh, what is that? And it was really empowering, freeing, right? I remember getting into the elevator and there was like the CEO of the company in there. And I'm like, and he goes, "Hi, Anke, how are you today?" And I was literally like he treated me like like a person,
right.
and you got to see, and then, especially in the software world, you quite often deal with people who are like way up in like, your CEOs, your top level people, and you get to work with them, you really get to see it. Oh, they're just people, who are kind
100%.
of silly in one way and really competent in another, like everybody, right? So it's like you and me and everybody else. You competent in one thing and not that competent in something else, and it really, as you so beautifully say, it doesn't say anything about your
About who
value
you
as a
are.
person. Yeah.
No, there are no conditions. I love that. Yeah, that they might be competent in one area, the expert, but it's an area where they've invested their time in that,
Yeah.
learning that knowledge and learning that skill. And the other thing you were saying, that he's so human. And it's so important to remember to always hold ourselves tenderly and kindly in the face of our human flaws. We're not supposed to be perfect. And that's okay. So when you were mumbling and stumbling with your words, that's beautiful. That's what we are. We're
Yeah.
human. We're not above. And there's nothing that harshness will do that loving kindness won't do better. And if we
Yes, I
can
love
change
that.
that voice that sometimes comes down so harshly on us to something a little bit more kind,
Yeah.
we'll see that inner work is really the self-esteem that comes from the inside out.
And I think the more you can tap into that, the more you can look at other people through that lens as well, right? To say, well, I have certain things that I'm good at and other things that I don't like doing or that I'm no good at, and so does everybody else. We don't always get to see all facets of somebody else.
Right.
But if you kind of know that, well, that person might look perfect on Instagram, but who knows what's going on in their life, right? You
Right.
don't go down the rabbit hole of comparing and then look as if you're less when you really,
That's right.
I
And then I
know.
love that. I think it's Brené Brown that says, if I assume that everybody's doing the best work that they can, then I'm less judgmental.
Yes.
Um, and that includes me. I'm doing the best I can and to be kinder.
Yeah. And also I think being kinder to yourself in the sense that, yeah, how judgmental you are really depends on where you're at on the day or in that minute, because if
Mm.
I'm feeling nervous, worried, anxious, I'll be a lot more judgmental than if I'm at peace. And you
Mm.
go through those. I always say it's like, that wave of energy, like that's the roller coaster ride of building a business, of being human. You go up and down, it's never a straight line. And if you're up, you're going to be a lot less judgmental and you're going to be a lot kinder and you're going to have more compassion. If you're down in the dumps, everybody's an idiot, right? And that's okay too. So I don't think there's even the need to thrive towards having this crazy wave being flat because it will never be.
Right. That doesn't exist either. There is no flat. There's no
Well,
linear.
there is a flat line, but we don't want to get there too
Right. That's true. So thanks again for this. Any last thoughts? Or you feel
I
we've
would
covered
love you. I would like. Why don't you just repeat that? Anything that can be done, can be done better with kindness. You say it so nicely. I think that's the
so
perfect last word.
that harshness, anything that, oh, now I've forgotten it myself. Harshness, anything that can be done harshly, tender loving kindness does so much better than any harsh way. Harshness just doesn't do anything as well as kindness does. We don't get there
Beautiful.
faster because we're whipping ourselves.
So true.
Maybe we'll deepen this next time. Thank you for being with me today.
Thank you.
Why can't I? There we go.